Welcome back to Album Review.
What's going on?
So this week we're doing one that I picked. We're doing Slow Dancing with the Moon by Dolly Parton. So, right off the bat, I'm just going to say, I don't really have context for this episode other than, this is one of her many studio albums. I think this is in, the 30s range. Because I've mentioned this before when we've done, classic country artists like Hank Williams Jr. Is that country artists, they love putting out albums from back in those days.
Yeah.
They would just release, at minimum, an album a year or so.
Yeah, I think it's really all about volume for country artists, at least back then, for sure.
Yeah, back then. I mean, I could argue that nowadays, too, because Morgan Wallen doesn't drop a lot of albums, but when he does, they're, almost 2 hours long.
Albums.
Yeah. But, yeah, that kind of follows the mold, and, Dolly Parton, one of the most, famous country stars, probably of all time at this point, and, very iconic in, just, Hollywood scene, too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all know about Dolly Parton, but I think this is definitely the first full album I've listened to by her.
Me too.
So.
This doesn't have any of, the huge hits off of it. There's one kind of, semi-big hit, as you can see on the front. But we'll get to that in a minute. So, shall we just jump right into this one?
Sure.
Alright.
So, the first track is Full Circle.
I like this one.
Yeah, I did too. I like the idea behind it.
Yeah, I like the idea behind it for sure. It's a lot different because it shows the progression and then the regression of a friendship relationship, and then it comes back.
Yep.
And that's kind of cool. Usually the stereotype for countries, oh, the heartbreak shit. No, this is a little different, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I guess especially as we move forward on the track list, we'll see a lot more of it, but it seems like this is the 90s, so she was already married for quite a while at that point.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that in her 40s as a married woman, she's going to be making love music that's not really about heartbreak. It's more just about relationships and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought it had a good concept to it.
Yeah. And then the next one's the big hit, Romeo, with a fuck ton of features on it, by the way.
Yeah.
The most notable one to me is Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, honestly, I really didn't like this.
I didn't care for this one either.
It just kind of cringed me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially considering what I was just talking about, how she's in her late 40s and married at this point. It just felt kind of weird listening to it.
Yeah, definitely got that vibe.
And Billy Ray Cyrus's contribution wasn't all that notable either. It was very brief.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too much
and
to go off of there.
Yeah, especially with a track with that many features on it, you'd expect it to be more.
Yeah, the features were kind of just people in the background making weird comments.
Yeah, if you're into 90s country, this is probably a cool track, but it doesn't really do anything for me.
It's got a very specific audience, I think, so if
Yeah.
you're not within that audience like us, then it didn't really appeal to me.
Yeah.
But the next track is You Got Me Over a Heartache Tonight.
This one's decent. It has another feature on it, if I remember correctly.
It did, I forget who it might have been, was it Billy Dean?
I think it was. This one wasn't bad. I liked it better than Romeo, I'll say that.
Yeah, I did too. That's pretty much what I said. I said it's definitely better than the last track, but at the same time, it was I remember it was super slowed down and felt almost a little too slow to me.
Yeah, you could fall asleep during this one.
Yeah, definitely. But it wasn't a terrible song overall.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a terrible one.
Next track, I think it picked up a little bit. It was What Will Baby Be?
This one's cool.
I like the idea behind this one too. It was kind of just all about parenting, which isn't a topic that people make music about that often.
Yeah, so again, I love the concepts in this album.
Yeah.
For country, like I've said, it's very unique in a way.
Yeah, I'd say so. But no, this one was definitely unique, and I think it was just a good message overall, because it's easy for people, I guess parents, to forget how much of an impact they have on who their children are going to become down the line based on how they raise them, so it's definitely a good message.
For sure.
Next track is More Where That Came From.
This one's decent.
This one wasn't bad. It had a little more energy to it compared to the last tracks, but kind of just another love song, kind of fit in with the rest of them.
Yeah, this album is full with love songs at the end of the day.
Yeah. But, I mean, if nothing else, it at least broke up the pace of the album a little bit, so...
Yeah, there's several points on the album that it does do that.
Yeah. Next track is Put a Little Love in Your Heart.
I like this one.
This one was also stood out a little bit because it had some different instruments on it. I remember.
Yeah, this is a fun one.
I think it had like some saxophones, maybe some horns in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was at least interesting. And then I remember there was also a choir singing in the background, like towards the end, which is something that comes back actually later in the album. But yeah, not bad overall.
Yeah, not bad.
Next track is Why Can't We?
This one's alright.
This one was okay. It was very like idealist and peace focused, which is never like a bad message, but
yeah.
The next track is I'll Make Your Bed.
This is actually my favorite off the album.
This one was, I think, the most like fun sounding, like it had a jumpy sound to
yeah.
it, I remember.
I love the guitar in this song. It's like a very bouncy, fun sound.
Yeah.
I love the lyrics.
Yeah.
This one is definitely my favorite.
I even like the little like doo 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 dee dee dum thing.
Yeah.
At the end or whatever. It's kind of interesting. Next track is Whenever Forever Comes.
This one's alright.
This one was kind of boring.
Yeah.
To me. Just super slowed down and stripped back again, which good because she keeps changing the tempo throughout the album, but it kind of just felt like filler.
Yeah.
Next track is Cross My Heart.
This one's also alright to me.
Yeah. Similar to a lot of the other songs.
Yeah, like these last few ones, like I don't really care for that much.
Yeah, they're kind of just all love songs.
Yeah.
That are barely different, but slightly different.
Yeah, like going on here. The title track's not bad though, which is the next one.
Yeah, I didn't mind this one actually.
It's another slow one, but I think it's a good one. No pun intended.
Yeah. And it at least had like a little bit of a different topic to it compared to the other tracks. It wasn't a love song. It was more like just talking about like the innocence of kids and like how they have hope and stuff, and like how if we could keep that hope going forward, like everyone would be a lot happier. Just simpler, easier said than done, obviously, but it's a nice message overall.
Yeah, for sure.
It had like a nostalgic kind of feel to it. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final track is High and Mighty.
I actually really like this one.
Very different. I mean,
very different. This is the religious track of the album.
Yeah, super up tempo.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we've talked about this on, funny enough, an Afro Man album. I know, very different artists, but, like, he has a song called Some Days When Your Life Is Hard, and it's, like, a very similar, like, Jesus-y track, but it's a really good song, and I also really like this one.
Yeah, I like this one, too. It kind of was interesting, felt kind of random, considering the
it's
topic
very
of the
different.
Rest of the music.
Yeah, it's probably the most, like, standout track, and it doesn't really fit with the rest of them.
Yeah.
But I like it. My only complaint is I think it's a little too long. It's only 3 minutes, but I feel like it could have been like a little shorter.
Yeah.
Like especially towards the end of the track.
And I just thought it was interesting how she went from like the cringy lines of Romeo to like a super gospel song at the end of the album.
Yeah, it's like a weird journey you're going through with this album.
Yeah.
Like it starts with like these weird love songs, and then you get to like the cool like innocent ones, and then you get to this one, which is just like nothing to do with the rest of them.
Yeah.
But final thoughts, I'll say, I've actually never listened to this album until we did this episode. This is like one of the first times I've done that, but I like the album. I don't think it's like a good album. I think it's a little too inconsistent, but I don't mind this album.
Yeah, I'd agree overall. Like, there's really not much bad that you could say about it. There weren't any songs that were outright bad.
Yeah.
And, like, Dolly Parton has a classic voice as far as, like, female country singers goes.
Yeah, and she's a great singer.
Yeah, she sounded good on every song, really. But same thing that you said, it's kind of, like, it was a little bit of a mixed bag. There were some songs that were definitely just filler and other songs that had something to them, but, like, nothing too interesting on the album overall, I'd say.
Yeah. And going to scores, I think I'm going to give this one just a 6. Solid 6. Like, not a bad album, not a great album, but I'd go back and listen to this one. Is it, like, the first Dolly Parton album I'd probably pick? No, but it's got some good stuff on here. I wouldn't skip this one.
Yeah. And in a similar vein, I'm going to give it a 5.
Alright, fair enough.
It was about average to me, because there really weren't any truly bad songs, but at the same time, there were probably only, like, maybe 3 songs that I thought were, like, interesting, that I might go back to, but like I said, like, she's a classic country artist, classic voice, she sounded good, and it's just some of the songwriting was a little bit too simple for my liking, I guess.
I agree. So this week, no, none of us are picking. You guys picked this album. So you may have not noticed last week's episode we mentioned we're going to do things a little differently. Like, we're still having everyone pick, but at the end of our rotations of people picking, we're having you guys, the fan-suggested picks, come in. Because, like I said last week, we've gotten some complaints that we're a little, too repetitive with the genre we chose. Although this is not going to break that mold, unfortunately. But this is a really good album from an artist that we've seen live and is pretty damn good. We're doing Iron Flag by Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay.
This is the 4th studio album by them.
Sounds good. I think I haven't listened to any Wu-Tang albums other than the ones we've reviewed so far, so this will be my 3rd album I've listened to.
Yeah, me too, honestly. This is one I have not listened to yet.